Hello. I'm not sure if this is working. It keeps kicking me off. So hopefully we're live. Okay, great. Turn off the video. Um, yeah, so for whatever StreamYard seems to be having a problem. Giving me a dark screen, but it looks like on my other viewer there is stuff happening. Oh, that's lovely. Because what on StreamYard in my browser. Hello. So let's see. Uh, I see Ken. I see Brick. I see Chris Platt. All right, I think that works. If you can hear me, say something in chat. And we're just not going to do any bells or whistles, no music, because it seems like StreamYard is not living its best life today. And yeah, and I want to do this page for you guys. Because I just finished cooking dinner and I'm ready to not be cooking dinner or looking at food other than a giant strawberry, of course. So yeah, it looks like hello pain. Let's see if okay. Oh, it looks like it might be starting to cooperate a little bit. I'm not going to test my luck by putting chat stuff up on the screen because we don't want to. StreamYard seems to be very temperamental today, so I don't want to risk it. So we are just going to do it bare bones, and I'm just going to do this one page today anyway. It should go pretty quick. It's not going to be long. I just needed to decompress from all of the cooking and Christmas stuff for a little bit. So I used to not ever do sort of the Betty Crocker, Martha Stewart stuff, and now that I do that, I enjoy it, but it also is still kind of it leaves me a little fried because I did not grow up doing any of that stuff. So yeah, I'm just gonna do all of my layer of chartreuse on everything for the strawberry that Strawberry Shortcake lives in. How is everyone's Christmas or holiday? That if you celebrate a holiday today, I mean, not everyone necessarily does Christmas. And despite all the cooking stuff, my day has been pretty good. I like the cooking stuff. It's a lot. So I made breakfast and then went right into prepping the holiday dinner. But the good thing is that I won't have to cook again until like Saturday or Sunday, depending on how long the ham lasts. And so I did half of a spiral ham with a brown sugar bourbon glaze. So it should be quite tasty. And it was burned off, so not that I technically don't drink. I don't not drink for reasons other than I'm old, and if I drink, I feel like crap. But it was hot enough that it'll burn the alcohol off. So I have champagne for New Year's Eve and for my birthday, and otherwise not so much. Every so often I'll enjoy a martini, but over the last 6 months to a year, I've noticed if I have anything too much that's too boozy, I pay almost immediately with a migraine or just feeling like crud overall. So, all right, let's see. So I can see that I can see chat, and I'm going to scan through it on my phone. Brick, lovely to see you today. I will be reaching out sometime over the next few days to talk Monchichi with you. So I'm almost to a point where it's time to solidify some Monchichi plans. So that has been a fun one to research, I will say. So get some of that going. So yeah. Hopefully you're all having a good day so far. For those of you that I chat with sort of in text or various Instagram or Facebook or TikTok or wherever it is we chat, it sounds like so far most of you are having a great day that are in one of those and also in the chat. So glad to see that. I feel like this has been a really weird year, and I feel like we've all earned a decent holiday. So I'm just going to lightly do the blue for the sky. Thought about getting out the Quran Dash. the water-soluble stuff, but decided against it. Also, Matt spoiled me this year, as some of you have probably seen on Instagram, some of the stuff. But he also bought me the full 84 set of the water-soluble chrome. So I now have every color of that. So, which is a long way of saying, starting in 2025, I will be using those even more so I can try all the colors. So it's going to be fun. So I've got a couple other art supplies that have come in over the next, will come in over the next few days that were Christmas gifts that I'm going to use. So it'll be exciting. Get to try some new stuff, new colors. I used a big chunk of money I got as part of a Christmas bonus to buy a scanner, like a big fancy one, so I can scan bigger books. So that'll hopefully translate to some of these vintage Star Wars posters I have. Really quick, I'm gonna grab them. Like I've got this one, which obviously my little printer is not gonna fit this guy. But hopefully with the big scanner, like you just put things under it and it scans it from side to side, I'll be able to get some decent scans of some of this big vintage stuff I have. And then I'll turn it into coloring pages. So that'll be exciting. It'll help me get the archiving of all these old books to the next level. Because some of the books are also oversized, especially a lot of the Kenner Dipdog books. They have one that's like called Murals. Yeah, Murals, and then there's the design book, and both of those have oversized pages I can't really fit onto my substandard little HP printer / scanner, which is made for an office with, you know, like memos and stuff. So it'll be nice to be able to scan those and include that as part of one of the Kenner history videos I'm working on for 2025. Yeah, exactly. It does. It totally sucks. So sorry you're dealing with that today. Yeah, they are. Well, that's fun. Well, that'll be part of the video and part of what I'll talk with you when we get to collaborate on it. But sort of the Smurfification of Monchichis has been really interesting. Sort of watching some of the Monchichi cartoons that were made in conjunction with Mattel to sell Monchichi toys in America, as opposed to some of the anime that was made and the international for its home audience in Japan. So it's been really interesting to see. I mean, everything got Smurfified back in the 80s when Smurfs were a big hit. But it was just really interesting to see that rather than adapting, as far as I can tell so far at this stage in the research, rather than just adapting the storyline over there, they Smurfified it, and there's like an evil wizard type that they're up against, and so it's really, I don't know. I mean, I guess that was sort of the 80s too, but it was just really interesting, sort of. And as a kid, I never, I thought Monchichi was cute, but I never kind of got into it. And what's really funny is reading about its origins and sort of the story that it had at home, where it came from. Like, that story to me was way more interesting than the Smurfification one. So it'll be a fun video to work on. And hopefully we can line up so that you'll work on it with me, because you have much better Monchichi childhood stories than I do. So, but yeah. I'm going to use this electric blue for the snow. Just because if I did it all white, it would get pretty boring. And I'm going to go in, well, I'll use this for the first bit of the snow, and then I'm going to go in and use some other stuff. But I'm just right now trying to get like a base layer of color down. I don't often do that whenever I'm like in a time-lapse video or even one of the longer form videos on the channel. But this tends to be how when I'm coloring for myself or offline, I tend to do this. I go and put sort of base colors down and then build up on top of that. So my art teacher back in the day, that was how she sort of taught me so that way you can have an idea of what all your colors will look like, so that if the color scheme in your head doesn't quite look as good in the end, you can sort of start changing it up once you get sort of your base coat down. So it's a little bit different than the normal, but again, it's just an extra fun. Basically, I was going to do a page or two on my own, and then I'm like, why don't I just jump online and babble to people instead of talking to myself? So here we are. Merry Christmas. It's a gift that keeps on giving. Yeah, well, that's sort of well, it's sort of not even. I mean, like, yeah, that's definitely an element. What was surprising to me about sort of the original Japanese storyline is that there aren't really villains in it. It's not. There's not really an antagonist in the way that sort of a lot of like Smurfs, like they have an antagonist. They have Gargamel and Azrael, and sometimes there's the witch Hagatha, who looks like my ex's mom, and except Hagatha's much prettier and smarter. But like for American Western audiences, there's always sort of like got to be a bad guy, and it doesn't really appear that exists in the same way for the original storyline from the Japanese animation that they made to go with it. So it's just really interesting, sort of that. And you have to wonder at the time, based on sort of where we were in the 80s, whether or not that would have caught on either. It definitely didn't catch on the way I think Mattel was expecting when they imported it over here. But they also tried to, I mean, my assumption is based on when they imported it and sort of, was that they were trying to use it as a flanker brand to go up against like Care Bears and glowworms and stuff like that were hitting around the same time. Because Mattel always, be it She-Ra to compete against He-Man to a degree, and Golden Girl, and any other potential action dolls, any other companies because at one point DC was looking into maybe doing an actiony girls action figure over there, and a lot of those early sketches are what became She-Ra. In fact, one of the earliest Crystal Castle designs had markings on it that I saw that looked like it's the property of Kenner at one point. So I don't know if All right, I think we're back. If there's some sort of browser update that I missed that would be causing issues with StreamYard, because my phone is not using my the the page is on my phone, and that's not having the same issues with StreamYard. So I'll go check. And of course, the phone browser stuff gets updated automatically. So I'll go check after the stream, because usually you have to reboot. So we'll save that. All right, so I've got all of my base colors down. For the snow and the sky and the strawberry, and I do always use either Deco Yellow or Lemon Yellow as the first step for a strawberry. And let's see, so all right, so for the which is a grayish and it looks like it rolled me again, so I might have cut out. So yeah, sorry. I'll definitely have it fixed before Friday. I'm going to stream again on Friday. Friday is the anniversary of when Carrie Fisher passed. So I'll definitely be online coloring some Leia, because we got to honor Space Mom. And I'm not sure where it cut out. So again, if it was when I said I'm adding periwinkle, which is a grayish blue, for the sky. So, and if it didn't cut me out for that, I apologize for the repeated information. We can blame StreamYard. Hopefully it remembers to ask me how the stream went at the end, so I can let it know it did not go well. So yeah, just layering some darks into the sky. Yeah, Alex Black Phoenix, I see they do still sell Monchi cheese. I've got my eyes on a couple. I'm gonna actually pick one up, one of the newer ones. I just haven't found one I like, and what's cool is that there are a lot of different ones. So I'm just gonna wait until I see one that really strikes my fancy, and I'm gonna get that one. But I wanted one as a kid. It was just I remember them being a little bit more expensive, and I mean at the time they hit, it was like He-Man was happening, Strawberry Shortcake, Glamour Gals was still coming out. I mean, it seems like it hit like the same. I want to say it was the same year as Return of the Jedi that it came along my radar. So between Return of the Jedi and Strawberry Shortcake, that was also the year of the Very Happy Home. That was just a really big year, and the international Strawberry Shortcake character. So it would have been really hard to squeeze in a Monchichi at that point, because that was also the year I started really listening to music, and I bought like my first cassette tape that year. With my own money from my report card. Cyndi Lauper, she's so unusual. So yeah, I was very distracted, but I've got a couple. I basically have on Amazon. I've set up an alert from Chi, and I've got one set up also on Hot Topic because they often get cute ones. Just haven't found a cute one yet through either place that I'm like, that's the Chi for me. And I've looked at vintage ones on eBay, and the vintage ones that are in good condition seem to go for quite a bit. Which, you know, like I don't mind spending a little bit more, but I'm trying to finish up a bunch of different collections. And I'm afraid I'll get a vintage one and spend enough money to get it in really good shape and have it look awesome, but then completely fall in love with them and then want all the vintage ones. And yeah, so basically I'm trying to avoid a different rabbit hole of collecting a new one. So maybe once I finish my recreating my vintage miniature collection, I'll have room for some Chi, some vintage ones, but otherwise I'm just gonna find a newbie and call it good. So they're cute though. That's the one thing, they're adorable. Like they're just cute little guys. Yeah, I saw that, and that made me kind of sad that oh yeah, see, yeah, and I do remember that. Like, you know, you would think with Mattel they would have tried to find a way to make them reasonably priced. It seems like there was a girl named Coffee. She had one of the little like clip-on ones, the little tiny ones that have the hands that sort of you pry apart and they would clip onto things. And the mean girl in our class, who for the record was not mean, I was not very mean at that age, or sassy even. I was still quite shy. I remember like she was looking at it and she spread the arms too far and it broke her Chi, and the little girl, I remember at the top of her lungs screaming, "Jennifer broke my Chi." And then Jennifer was like, but it wasn't a real one anyway. It was the cheap crap you get like at Walmart. It's not a real Chi. And I mean, it was a real Chi. It just wasn't the full size one. Anyway. I mean, in high school, Jennifer busted her face playing basketball. So eventually she got hers. So we love that for her. She went to try to make a basket and smacked right into the floor when she missed. Didn't miss the floor with her face. No, so I'm sure she's fine. I'm sure she's married to some awful man and they're happy with their awful kids. So, but anyway, she did break that Chi. And it was really rude about it. It's funny the stuff you remember from 1983, 84. But don't, you know, but there's stuff that happened last week I can't recall. So I can't remember why I went into the room half the time. Or that my glasses are on my face when I'm looking for them. So. You know, I might do that. We might have to chat. I'm interested when it's time though, because you were saying that your vintage collection has all sorts of 80s goodies, so you might definitely have some stuff that I'm looking for, but I might be interested in that would be a good way to, and then it would be a cool story. Like my friend Brick was clearing out his childhood collection, and I got these amazing crunchy cheese. Then they have history. It's the one sad thing sometimes about eBay is that you don't really know the history. I did pick up, speaking of that, I picked up the Star Wars Give a Show projector from Kenner about a year ago. And I bought it, and when I bought it, the lady who sold it to me sent a message like, oh, I'm, I'll get it shipped off. And it was a really good price. It was complete. That a few of the film strips have some blemishes, but like she was selling it for like a really good price, and the shipping was really reasonable. And she did the, oh, I'm sending it, like this day. She's really communicative, really good seller. And she was like, I just replied, I'm like, thank you so much. I was so glad to find it for such a great price. I've wanted one of these since 1977, 78. It was just they were expensive, and that was the time where my parents could not afford to completely spoil us. And she replied, and she was like, oh, I'm so glad to know. I'm glad it's going to a good home. It was one of my son's favorite things. And she's like, it's been really hard selling his collection since he passed away earlier this year. And that just, I don't know, it just hit me. Like, one, because the mom's having to sell off his collection. But two, just like, it was one of his favorite things. And he's having to sell this stuff on eBay, probably not having any idea what any of it's actually worth. Which is probably why I got it for such. I kind of felt a little bad, but not too bad, because you can search on eBay to see what other people are selling it for. But I don't know. It was a good. I don't know. It was good for me to hear that story with it. So whenever I finally get around to doing a video on the Give a Show projectors, I'll somehow include that in there. Even though obviously I don't, know what his name was or anything like that, but just so in some capacity, just, the story and the love he had for the story can live on somewhat. That's kind of the sad thing about, there's the aspect where if your family aren't collectors as well, they don't really know what any of the stuff is worth, and then they have to get rid of everything. But there's also the fact that just, these items do have history. Like, that's part of why I collect, is like, I remember happier times as a childhood that, where Star Wars and Strawberry Shortcake were my favorite things, or it wasn't a great time when I was a child, but thought Strawberry Shortcake and He-Man and all this stuff was how everything stayed better, and how we got through some dark times as kids. So I don't know, something about some of the history that we're going to lose as, sort of the Gen X and the older millennial, and some of the, younger boomers start dropping off. So at some point, I don't know, it would be cool to figure out a way to sort of make some sort of project for everyone to sort of share these memories, some sort of time capsule of like collectors, so that at some point somebody will, everyone's like, these kids don't care about toys and collectibles, and I think it's true, but I think it's also because for these kids, they don't necessarily get like why it's important to, these are our generations of people, like why these things mean so much to us. And I think one day it'll start clicking for them, and those stories will probably at that point interest them. I can hope. So that is one thing about the kids I have noticed, is they really like sort of, they call it authenticity, but it's really just like sort of connecting with people. So I don't know, I don't think we'll ever turn them into, you know, like collectors like we are, but I think, you know, I think at some point they'll be able to appreciate sort of the stories as far as why we actually collected all this stuff and why it made us happy and what our motives were. And then they too will learn the just how to properly despise scalpers. So, yeah, yeah, that's the hard part. Like, yeah, because at some point either I will need to start selling off stuff or I'll need to, you know, like leave instructions and like I don't know. Maybe I'll do something notable in the next 20, 30 years before I'm too old and the Alice and Troy Museum of Wonder can happen and all of my stuff will live there forever in the museum. That would be kind of cool. But otherwise, yeah, I have a hard time when I accidentally pick up extras of something and a lot of actually flipping it at this stage. Although I have been making boxes for some of y'all of little things like, oh, I've got an extra thing of this. I just don't need it. So if I can ever get my butt to the post office and suffer in line long enough to send some stuff out, some of you might actually get some gifts with random thingies in it that I'm like, I don't need 3 of this. So hopefully that would be good. But definitely like not anything I specifically bought as a single. Just extras. Now that I've got sort of all of my collection in one, there's still a few things in storage in Texas that I need to go and get, but nothing significant really. But I do need to at some point, and it'll happen once we finish our remodel so that I can properly set up my collection room. There's a lot of stuff I'm gonna have extra that I'll need to give away. So all of you will be the beneficiaries. All right, there we go. A little bit of snow, darkerness. I always want to do that. I blame Alex. I blame you, Alex, for every time I go to say darkerness. I've got a darker shade of blue in there for the snow, and I'm just going to go in with cloud blue and smooth that out a little bit. So it's probably a little bit more rough than my average page as well, but I actually have not. I colored a little bit Saturday night at a party. My friend, no, it was Friday night, and then Saturday night, I spent the night, Saturday night at my friend's house. And we sat up and did colored and talked until really late. But since then, I haven't done much, and I usually color every day, so I'm a little rusty today. So I apologize if whatever at the end of the stream has the result that it's not my normal output. Use the same blue to smooth out the glass in the windows. I don't know. I like it though. It'll look much. It's also sort of still because the strawberry is not done. Once I go in and get all the green in the strawberry, it'll pop a lot more. Again, this is why in videos this is why in a video I do it sort of in a specific order so it's more entertaining. But this is how I build color by myself. Peek behind the curtains of the Alice and Troy factory. This is the authenticness that the kids like. Hello, Duchess. Merry Christmas to you. Happy to see you here. I've got a bunch of your stuff queued up for after dinner is finished. Well, after I go eat. I finished cooking, but I haven't eaten any dinner yet. After I finish this, I'm gonna have dinner. We're gonna watch probably Gremlins. We watch a couple. There are a couple of different holiday movies I watch. It's Gremlins, Black Christmas from 1974, Valley of the Dolls, which is not a Christmas movie but reminds me of Christmas because I got my first copy of Valley of the Dolls for Christmas 1991. Star Wars Holiday Special, which Matt refuses to ever watch again. So that one will definitely be on my own. Probably have to watch Black Christmas on my own because he watched it, but it's a little slow for him. And then The Long Kiss Goodnight with Gina Davis. So it'll be either Gremlins or Long Kiss Goodnight that he and I watch later. We can't watch Valley of the Dolls together because I end up quoting so much of the movie that kind of annoys him a little, and I get it. It annoys me when I watch a movie with someone who can quote it and I don't know the words. But so I'm okay with it. Some of those are just rice, and I'll watch some Duchess videos, and I'm gonna film some stuff later. So and slide my movies in after that. Yep, it rolled me again, Brick. So, but I'm back. So I looked up and it had completely kicked me out. So, StreamYard. It worked fine last time I used it, which was about 2 weeks ago almost. So I'll have to go in and it's probably just a browser update. It's also probably time for me to upgrade the computer again. It has the same one for quite some time now. And computers, unfortunately, do not have long shelf lives. So, and because I do still use a PC because work stuff, day job work stuff, so I am a little bit. I know all the kids are going sort of full mobile or iPad or whatever, but unfortunately not so much. And laptops just don't have all the extra processing stuff I need for work stuff. So. All right, I think the snow is as good as it's gonna get. Time to work on some trees. Let's see. Here we go. All right, I'm gonna use Prussian green over here and start with those trees in the background. All right, looks like StreamYard has everything back up, so very good for now. So definitely, Merry Christmas. Maybe after the three ghosts visit Ebenezer Scrooge, they can go visit the StreamYard people. It seems like it did this last Christmas too, though, when I was here. I streamed on Christmas Day, and it seems like it was pretty janky the whole time, so. I should go back and watch that stream. And, so I think it seems like it was Christmas Day. All right, and there we go. Go in with moss green, which is a lot darker, but I think that works. Gives it that almost pine tree look, which I think is what these are supposed to be. Even though Strawberry Land doesn't have pine trees in any other pictures behind Strawberry Shortcake's house. But I suppose when it snows, everyone gets pine trees. All right, there we go. All right, I'm going to do the fence, the door, and the stem at the top. And for those, we're going to go olive. Which seems pretty close to the other greens, but is not. It's just different enough. Thank you. Yeah, sometimes it's just honestly at this point I've gotten to a point where I mean it's been almost 2 years that I've been. It'll be like 2 years. I'm trying to think when I first started practicing because I didn't start putting videos. I practiced for like 4 to 6 months before I even did the first time up short. And even before that, I filmed a bunch of Shira videos that I've been editing because they were like 6 hours each. And those have been hard to watch because it was before I was taping stuff down. And I mean, they're fine as far as putting them up, but it's just, they're so far removed from where I am. It was really, I had that like, should I just get rid of all of this? But then I was like, no, it's part of the process. But yeah, there just sort of things that I have figured out that makes sometimes it look like watercolors and sometimes not. So it's been really fun. Like I'm hoping this year that I find more bandwidth to work more on relearning how to draw so that I can start doing more of my own work again. You know, and that's partly just I had artist block for a really long time, and sort of this has been a good way to work around that. But also just when I started drawing again, I really didn't like what it looked like, and I realized a lot of my unhappiness with art was sort of all of my bad habits getting me. So the long break I've taken has been good because it's kind of been pushing me to relearn stuff, and it takes a while to relearn and sort of break all those habits. So hoping I get to a place this year where I can spend enough time to sort of do the last of it. I'm also going to start, I've had for a while now a tablet that you can draw on the tablet screen directly, and it's, you know, digital. And so I'm hoping I'm going to spend a little time this year working with that to get the hang of it, because I think that'll help, because it is different than drawing freehand. And on paper with a graphite or with pen or whatever. So I'm going to practice with that a little bit more, because I think it'll help me break the last of the bad habits that make me unhappy with my art. So I'm going to start. My friend that I stayed up too late coloring with on Saturday has been doing a lot of art classes that are technically below her skill level. You know, she's my agent, but she technically never got out of art. But she's, you know, but sort of learning new techniques or stuff she's done before has been really helpful, and she's made some amazing pieces. So I'm going to start making, after the first of the year, I'm going to start scheduling an hour every week. Just to sit and draw. I'm going to watch YouTube videos. I'm going to practice with the tablet and just see what I can, you know, because I do miss it. It's not even I think that was part of some of the hesitancy, was I wouldn't necessarily even use it to do my own coloring pages. I just wanted to like occupy my time with art that I'm making. Not that I don't love this. Like the coloring book stuff is really fun. It's good for me. It's also good practice, because, you know, some of these old pages do not have the best art, and there's a lot I can do with color to save them and, you know, notch them up. So like learning how to do that will be very beneficial when I start drawing again, because even if I'm not super happy with the picture, if I know how to get in there with color and sort of gloss it up a little bit, I think overall it'll make my pieces stronger. So. I would imagine it is like a snow cone, because Strawberry Land is very much, you know, like the river is the soda stream, basically. It's a river of strawberry soda. You know, like the fish that Huckleberry Pie catches are like, I guess, like Swedish fish, gummy fish, or they're candy fish. So everything is like berries and candy. So I would assume that most snow in Strawberry Land is snow cone ready. It may not come down flavored, but it's, you know, scoop it up in your cup and you could probably eat it right off of the ground, because obviously there's no pollution in Strawberry Land. It's funny, my friend Muriel, who has been on the channel a time or two, and is spending today with her fiance and his family. She and I were talking about it one time, and she didn't realize that the Strawberry Shortcake characters were supposed to be kids. And she's like, wait, they're not just sort of like magical, like hobbits or something? I'm like, no, they're supposed to be little kids. And she's like, oh, so Strawberry Land is just a big sweatshop. And I'm like, yeah, basically. And the kids sort of pick all the berries and bake all the pies, and then the pie man and sour grapes come in and try to steal them to benefit. So, but it was funny, like, but so far as we know, no parent, and I think that's why she thought that they were sort of like hobbit type characters, because there aren't really any parents in Strawberry Land. And so, but they definitely, in the way I played with them, it was always less that they were like little kids when I was a kid. I did play with them more like they were hobbits. So it's because I know as a child, I did not want to spend all day outside picking berries and making pies and then having to sell them at the berry market. It's not very child friendly, to be honest. So. I'm going to start with this layer of green. There we go. I'm going to go in with True Green now. Use the True Green on all the green wood though. Oh gosh, why can't I remember what these are called? I keep wanting to call them hinges, but that's not what they are. The flaps that cover your windows. It'll come to me in like an hour or two. Or type it in the comments. Shutter. It's a shutter. There we go. There it is. I was probably blocking it out because of that movie with that terrible actor. What's his name? Leonardo DiCaprio. Yes. So the shutters. It sounds like it's raining here, so. And Merry Christmas. Some Christmas rain. Exactly, Brick. Exactly. Shutters. It's ridiculous because we have some of those now on our. I've never had shutters on any house before, and our house currently has shutters on one of the windows that have to come off because they're old and the wood is falling apart. So, but I don't like the shutters anyway. That's one of the windows we're going to be replacing this year. So, well, next year, because technically we're about what 6 days away from the end of the year. So, in 2025. All right, there we go. The door is done. Now for the fence. Needs the same green too on the patches on her dress. So that way all of her green isn't the exact same. It's on the toy it was not. There was different green for the socks, for her patches, for the strawberry on her hat. So. All right. Let's get that. There we are. I missed a spot, but now it is fixed. I'm going to go in with grass green for to do some shading on the stem and the leaves. All right. I'm going to turn this out a little bit right there. All right, and really quickly, I'm going to get the Prussian green again. I'm going to go in and use this for the green stripes in her scarf and her socks. Same, Brooke. Thanks for popping in. Lovely to see you today. And then I'm going to wrap it up with spring green. So I'll use that for the last bit of the stem / leaves and call it good. That's all done. Now just go in and finish the stripes. There we go. Excellent. All right, next I'm going to use cream instead of white. Since it's white paper, it wouldn't show up very well. Use cream for the stripes in her socks and her scarf, as well as her apron. and her shoelaces. And then I'm going to go in with the burnt ochre and just use that lightly to put a little texture and some shading onto the apron. As well as the scarf and the socks. And then back with the cream to blend it out. And I'm going to use the burnt ochre for the first bit of color for her hair. Next up is poppy red. Oh, wait, that's carmine. Sorry, grabbed the wrong one. So I'm going to use poppy red, and then use that for the strawberry. And again, I'm going to go in with a white paint pen for the snowflake, so it's okay that I'm going to end up coloring over most of those. I'm just going to get that consistent texture and color for the strawberry itself. I'm sort of trying to color around the strawberry. The snowflakes would make that kind of hard. So I'm not worry about them just yet. Hello, thanks Dave to mention. I hope you're having a great holiday as well. Thanks for popping in. Hello, Katie. Just this is sort of the last bit of the long and not so interesting part is just going in with that poppy red for the house. This is the part where adult coloring is relaxing. You sort of focus on coloring and covering the space. Really quick, I'm going to grab her strawberry line over in this corner. And I use poppy as the basis for all of the red in her dress. And go ahead and do that first layer of red. A heart real quick. And almost to the end of the strawberry. All right, very good. The strawberry is done. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and use the paint pen to do the snow, and then we'll get to strawberry shortcake. Oh, actually, we need to also do the doorknob, so I'm gonna do that first. Let's do, we'll give her a gold brass sort of doorknob. So I'm gonna use the burnt ochre, and from that, we'll do goldenrod. Just leave it there. Gives it more of a bronze look, or a brass look, which matches better what most doorknobs would be. And then I'm just going to go in with the white acrylic paint pen and start coloring the snowballs and snowflakes actually. make the last few snowflakes. Alright, that's all done. All that's left is Strawberry Shortcake. Needs the poppy red again. That's the next bit of color I'm going to add to her hair. I'm going to use pomegranate for the strawberry in her hat. It gives it a little bit more of a dark look. And then for the red in her outfit, I'm going to go in over the poppy with crimson red and sort of do some shading with that. All right, that finishes the dress. Looks like I missed her bloomers earlier, so I'm going to go in with the cream really quick and do that. All right, and her shoes, I'm just going to use the burnt ochre. And I'm going to go in with dark brown just to shade the shoes. And back over it with the burnt ochre to sort of smooth them out. There we go. All right, all that's left is her hat. Oh, wait, we will need a paint marker again. That's not that. Got the wrong one. I grabbed the blender. There. Paint marker for the strawberry seeds. Right, just need the hat and her skin. So we'll start with the skin, and I'm going to use eggshell. Just a good sort of base color for skin tone. And then pumpkin orange to put a little color into the skin. And I use that for her freckles. And then I'm going to go in with the pumpkin orange and use that as the last layer of color for her hair. That blends with the poppy and the burnt ochre pretty nicely to get pretty close to the shade of red that the original Kenner doll had. It's not exact, of course, but it's pretty close. And then for the final bit of her skin, I'm going to today use light peach because that's what's handiest. Sometimes I use for Strawberry Shortcake Deco Peach, but today the pencils that I have do not have Deco Peach in them. Those are in my other case, which is in the other room. So I'm just going to use the light peaches, and it works just as well. All right, last, and we're almost done with her. I'm going to do her hat, and we're going to start with Deco Pink. It's a good light pink shade. And then I'm going to shade that with just pink. And from Prismacolor, it's a darker pink. So it works pretty well for her hat. This is also the same combination I use for her cat custard. Use the Deco, and then I will go in and do shading with this pink. As a kid, I always imagined that custard was made out of the same material that her hat was. So. And I'm just going to do, her hat had white spots on it, so I'm just going to go in with my paint pen and do some white spots on her hat. It also is supposed to have strawberries, but they're not on there, and I'm not going to go in and draw them. So 2 little white spots in her eyes so they stand out. And she's done. So there we go, completed page. It's about an hour and 40 minutes, and because StreamYard is still being a little bit of a jerk, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to wrap it up with this one. I just had some random Strawberry Shortcake pages that I would get to if I had finished this early. But it's not that early enough for me to actually get anything done on the random pages. So I'm going to wrap it up and go have some Christmas dinner. Should all have been cooled enough by now to enjoy it. So in the meantime, I thank you to everyone who popped in. Hopefully you're having a good holiday. I will be back at 2 p.m. on Friday, live streaming some Princess Leia to honor and celebrate the day Carrie Fisher left us in 2016. And then on Sunday, I'll be back at my normal Sunday morning time of 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time to do the second to last page in the 1984 Masters of the Universe coloring book. I've got one page left we're going to do on Livestream Sunday of Evelyn riding a dragon, and I've got one more to do after that. Probably will film that tonight. And then there will be a video sort of going through all the completed pages because I'm probably going to finish that before the 1st. which who would have thought possible with the craziness that's been the last few months with the move. So anyway, I thank you again. Merry Christmas. Thank you to everyone who popped in and hung out, and to everyone in the replay crew. I appreciate you. For now, Allison Troy Retro to a Princess out. Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holiday.